Hello and welcome guys. So now we will study about the fourth section, that is pipe fittings. So basically the purpose of these pipe fittings is, in the pipeline diagram there are separate fittings apart from the pipe, like you will have filter, you will have strainer, separator, okay, like hopper, orifice. These are fittings which enhance or which increase the workability. So the pipeline is not just a single pipe, it is also associated with several fittings. So these are the five fittings that we are going to discuss in this section. Okay, as per the symbol list we will see one by one what these pipe fittings look like.
To every marine engineer out there, from junior engineer to chief engineer and electrical officer, we all know that earning respect on ship is very important. We all know fast promotions are very important, and we all know that इज्जत कमानी है, promotion चाहिए तो काम आना चाहिए, तो जूते पड़ते हैं, गालियां पड़ती हैं, and for that you need a good mentor. Sometimes we keep finding those mentors on board ship, और अगर नहीं मिल रहे तो MNDFLIX है ना, Merchant Navy Decoded has launched a subscription model where you can find more than 30 plus courses with respect to your rank, helping you earn respect on ship. Please enroll on these free trial videos, watch these videos as per rank, and then decide whether you want to invest or not, with a very good flexible payment plan as well. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mata.
So here we see the number one symbol is rose box. Okay, so if you see a box with a single cross like this, that means it is a rose box. Okay, let me show you how the rose box looks like. So this is how your rose box looks like. So basically it is a type of filter, and you can see the amount of holes in this. The size of holes is also big and the amount of holes is also big. So it is basically to contain out or retain the heavy particles or the bigger components like fish and all. So it can be used in the sea chest filter. I just, in the sea chest you can use this kind of filters. So separate vessels will have this kind of rose boxes also. So if you find a single cross like this in the symbol list in the diagram, that means it is a rose box. So if it is a mud box, it can also be a mud box in your sea chest. So you will have a dashed line in between. You can see this is a mud box. Dashed line is a mud box. So this is what our sea chest filter generally looks like. So this is a mud box that we are using in the sea chest. Okay, basic purpose is to contain the big components like fish or algae or whatever is coming in the sea chest. So basically that is a mud box. Both of them have bigger hole sizes. Okay, rose box I have never ever seen in my career. You might be having in on board your vessels, but okay, we are using mud boxes. Okay, then there is simplex water strainer. So you can see there are number, as the filtration this thing increases level, so the micron size reduces. You can see the number of, it is shown by the number of dashed lines. So that will show key the filtration is more fine here. That is what simplex water strainer. Okay, if you can see, general filter in the water line whatever you have is a simplex and duplex. Okay, simplex means one strainer will be in the line, you cannot do changeover for the strainers. So that is simplex. Simple any line filter that you will have is a simplex strainer. If it is a water line, this kind of strainer will be there, it is a water strainer. If it is in the oil line, then it is oil strainer. Okay, only difference is in the size of microns, the filter microns. You can see this is if it is in the oil line valve, it is shown as like dash in the center. Okay, center dash. So oil strainer. Okay, now duplex oil strainers. So oil strainers, both the strainers are shown here. There are two strainers and they are dashed out. Okay, so you, what you can do, you can use one at a time and change over use to the other one, and you can clean out or carry out maintenance on the other strainer. That is duplex strainer. You can see this type of mechanism. You must have seen this in your boiler systems. Okay, boiler systems, your fuel oil systems, where you can change over to the other filter, because these systems have a tendency to get choked easily. So you and the operation, continuous operation is also mandatory. If you cannot stop the system, what you can do is you can change over the filter and carry out maintenance on the other one. You can see one is changed over to this side, the changeover valve is in this position, and the other filter is opened and the strainer is out. You can see this is how the strainer looks like, the filter looks like. You must have seen this in the boilers, auxiliary boilers, duplex oil strainers. Okay. So this is duplex oil strainer. Then comes separator. uh, Separator, basically given in example, is this one. So basically the separator can be of different types, like moisture separator, oil separator, drain separator. Okay. So what is the simple thing is that if it is shown like this symbol with a dash in between, that means there is a separator in the line. You can have it in the compressed air line, right, to separate out the condensate, or the to separate out any oil in the line. So for compressed air line you can have separators. Any other refrigerant line also you have separators, refrigeration line. So how does the separator looks like? The separator will look like this. Okay. So you can see it is showing drain from here, drain out from here, and this is how it is traveling from one side to the other side. Okay, sorry, the flow direction is shown is this one. So this will be from this side to this side. Okay, the separator flow, and then whatever drain or moisture is accumulated here is drained out from this passage. So this is how a separator looks like. Can be used for moisture condensate, okay, or to separate out oil, etc. The separator is used. Okay. Now comes drain trap. Drain trap. Okay, drain trap is used in the drain line. Okay. Separators are used in the common manifold, in the common line. Anywhere, say in the compressed air line you will have a separator, in the control air line you will have a separator, uh, in the refrigeration line you will have a separator. Drain traps are used where the system is drained, the drain of the system is associated, like your steam traps. Steam traps is also a type of drain trap. uh, it is in the outlet line. Okay. And the purpose is to let the So drain trap, you can see it is of disc type or impulse type. Here it is a disc impulse type. In the photograph you will see it is, one is a disc type drain trap, other is a impulse type drain trap. Basic funda is we know about the steam trap, no? So it's like that only. Steam trap basically purpose is to trap the steam and let the condensate go out. Okay. So similarly the drain trap also it works on the similar funda. So this is how a drain trap looks like. Okay. uh, Now the next one is Y type strainer. Okay, it is shown like this, you can see, with a box and T, okay, which makes it a Y. So by looking at the pipeline you can know that this is a Y strainer. So this is how a Y strainer looks like. uh, in the water pipelines, small pipelines going to the purifier line, you will have this Y type strainers. Okay, mostly in the control airline also you have Y type strainers. Okay. Advantage of placing this type of strainers is that you don't need to open up from the top and remove. Okay. So if there is any pressure in the line or any drain is coming, you can just slack it from here. uh, Pressure will be released downwards, not towards the operator. downwards, and any drain or something condensate or moisture oil is the content there, it can be drained out easily. Filter cleaning is also easy in this case. So Y type strainer is of advantage when you are, say, operating a system and you can't always open the system for maintenance. You just can open this type of filter and drain out the condensate or any contents in the system, and it will not come to the operator side, it will go towards the downward side. That is the advantage of using a Y filter. So Y strainer, you will have a symbol like this. It's a hopper. There is hopper without cover and then hopper with cover. uh, can you tell me, guys, where this hopper is used? Have you ever seen it on board? uh, so hoppers, if you can see this photo, this is how a hopper will look like. Hopper without cover and hopper with cover. Okay, so cover has been placed on the top, without cover also depends on the um, pipeline. Mostly this you will find in where, in the turbocharger grit washing, you will use this type of hopper. Grit washing, or if you are carrying any washing etc in the line, you will have this kind of hoppers. So hoppers are rare to find, but in the turbocharger line you will have this. Turbocharger grit washing side, you will have these hoppers. Okay. Now is this sounding head with screwed cap. Okay, sounding head with screw cap. So this is how a sounding cap looks like. Okay. uh, and it is to be screwed. Basically, the purpose is that it will hold the sounding pipe and the contents therein intact, because that is why it is screwed down in the pipe itself. Okay, it is not just a lifting type of arrangement, it is screwed inside the pipe. And why it is done so? Because so that any pressurization, in case of any pressurization or excess pressure, it will not release out the pressure from the sounding cap. If it happens, that means the cap was slack, or because it is a safety concern if this sounding cap is not being tightened in the place. Otherwise the spill and overflow can take place easily. It will not rise from the vent, it will come out from the cap itself, sounding cap itself. Okay, and that is why the self closing arrangement, the next one, sounding head self closing valve with test cock. The symbol you can see here, sounding head with screw cap. So you can see this is the sounding head pipe, and there is a cap on the top, screw cap. Okay, so that is what it resembles, the sounding head with screw cap. Okay, sounding head with screw cap on the top. Second one is sounding head with self closing valve with test cock. So you have in this one you can see self closing arrangement is shown here. Okay, so why is the arrow given? Arrow is given indicating that there is a self closing arrangement. Okay, and there is one test cock also given. Okay, you can see this small test cock indicates that. So why is the test cock given, guys, in the sounding pipe? So that is below the line. So if you are going to take below the self closing valve, so once the, say, in the scavenge drain line, it is always pressurized. So how will you come to know whether the press you have closed the valve, and whether the valve is not holding or something like that? And if you are not aware, how will you check that whether the tank is depressurized? Then only you can open the sounding cap and take the sounding, right? If you will not know that it has been depressurized, what will happen? It will spill out every content from this scavenge drain tank. Okay, once a time it has happened with me when I was a fifth engineer. Because the valve was not holding, and I did not check this test cock depressurized, the whether it was depressurized or not. And as soon as I opened the valve for taking sounding, it was pressurized, and the contents came out. Okay, so we have to be very careful when you are taking sounding with the uh, scavenge drain tank like that. So that is why they give a test cock. Okay, you can see in this photo also. uh, this is the self closing arrangement. Other vessels might have different arrangement. This is a weight operated type self closing arrangement. Some vessels have a spring arrangement for the self closing. Basic purpose is that the even if the sounding pipe cap is not holding, this self closing arrangement will keep the uh, sounding pipe sealed, intact, sealed. Okay, now if you have to take sounding, there is a test cock here. You can see this is a test cock. This is just like a spring loaded press push button type, and there is a release uh, hole here. Okay, so as you push the button from here, push the knob from there, the whatever contents in there is will release from this small nozzle or small hole. From that you can come to know whether it is pressurized. If the hole is you are putting a finger and you are coming to know that there is a heavy amount of gas coming or heavy amount of pressure is coming from there, that means the tank is still under pressure. No need to take the sounding now. Check the uh, valves whether it is holding or not. Maybe the valve you have closed and it is not holding. So always before taking sounding, please check this test cocks. Basically more on the tanks which are meant to be pressurized, like sludge tank, like oily bilge tank, like the scavenge drain tank. These tanks sometimes are pressurized, so you have to check their contents by pressing the test cock. Okay, then only you open this self closing valve. Okay, and then sounding pipe to take sounding. Okay, so this is what a sounding head with self closing valve with a test cock means. And there as a symbol is like this, you will see in the pipeline diagram also. Okay, this is an, so where do you insert an orifice? So you can see there are two pipe coming, there is a flange, and in between the flange you have inserted an orifice. The purpose of orifice is to reduce the flow. If you want to reduce the flow or increase the pressure, so in that case you will use an orifice. You can see like this is, uh, spools are used to form an orifice, basically to uh, counter or cause an obstruction in the flow, due to which there is an increase in velocity and pressure and flow is reduced. So that is the purpose of orifice. You can see this is the orifice and its symbol. Okay, now next is hose coupling. Hose coupling is nothing but, here I have seen taken an example of hose coupling from the fire hoses. So basically what you see here, hose coupling is to close the uh, fire hose, basically to as a cover. Hose couplings are basically as a cover for the fire hoses. Mostly you will find it in the cover for fire hoses, also also in the hydrants. You will have these hose couplings to close the hydrants. Okay, in the fire line. Then there is hand pump. Okay, hand pump symbol is like one stick is shown, one arrow is shown like this in a simple pump. Okay, like this. So what does this mean? Hand pump means that you are going to pump the contents by hand, because the actual pump is not working. You can see this is how, this is just a photograph of the hand pump, one side inlet and outlet, and you are carrying out the pumping operation by hand. Okay, where do you use it? Mostly you will find it in your, you must have seen your lube oil priming pump. There is, in the lube oil priming line, there is a hand pump given. Say your point priming pump fails to operate, is not working, so your hand pump will become handy there, and you will have to use. In one of my vessels, I had to use this hand pump because the lube oil priming pump was not working, and every time before starting and stopping the every time during start stop we had to pump the lube oil from the sump to the uh, other components like bearing and all, because everything drains out. So lubricating oil pump, pre-lube pump was not working, so hand pump was used there. In the lube oil line, etc., other lines also where the pumps are there, you will find the small hand pumps also installed at numerous number of places. So this is the indication of a hand pump. Then comes the ejector or ejector injector. Okay, let me just tell you the ejector or ejector. You can see it is like a divergent nozzle, it is expanding. Okay, so that is how an ejector looks like. You can see in this photograph. Okay, this is from the freshwater generator ejector or ejector, to eject the um, brine and salt from the lower half of the evaporator section. From the cell we use this ejector. So basically it is to extract out, okay, extract out the gases and brine from the freshwater generator. Okay, that is the basic purpose of ejector. Okay, okay, okay. Then comes the sea chest. Okay, so sea chest, we are all aware of sea chest, what it will be: low sea chest and high sea chest. Always you will find a cross like this in the box for the sea chest. Okay, so basically if you see the photograph here, I have taken a photograph from the real onboard sea chest. Okay, the question to you guys is whether it is a high sea chest or low sea chest. By seeing, how can you tell this? Okay, so basically by judging by the position of this sea chest, this one is a low sea chest because the position is lower, on the lower side. The high sea chest will be a little bit on the upward side and towards the bulkhead, and the low sea chest lies down and it is in the nearby the just beside the main engine, nearby the center side. Okay, so that is the low sea chest. Then comes the drain silencer. Drain silencer looks like this. Basically the purpose is, say in the air compressor, etc., or any such equipment, control air line where you have the drains and there is loud noise expected. So sometimes the maker recommend, or the owner's recommendation is to put a drain silencer also. So basically what it is, there are wire meshes in the stages fitted on in the drain silencer. Whenever there is air flowing or the liquid flowing from the top, it will reduce the pressure fluctuations and silence the drains, and easily the contents will be removed out from the drain silencer. Okay, so basically the purpose is to silence the drains, so the sound, etc., will be attenuated because of the layers of wire mesh put inside the drain silencer. And then this is very common, and that is why you can see in the drain silencer you have got very many dashes here, that is showing the layers of sound attenuation in the silencer. Okay, second one is the hull distance piece. Okay, the hull distance piece or the ship side nozzle, how does this look like? So basically on board, this is fifth engineer trying to operate the this valve. Okay, and we have got a distance piece over here. Okay, why we have been given a distance piece? Distance piece is given so that uh, if, say if the valve is directly attached to the hull. Say in case the valve gets damaged, you don't have any option rather than because the valve can be closed. If say some perforation or damage is happening in this distance piece, the valve can be closed and it can be avoided to uh, valve can be closed, and further the water flow or propagation can be stopped, and any maintenance etc can be carried out in this distance pitch. uh, or if the damage itself is to the valve, then you can't do anything in that case. So that is why distance piece is for the additional protection for the pipeline. You have given a distance piece at the end towards the suction side. Okay, now the next one is the bilge hat. Let me see what the bilge hat looks like. Okay, bilge hat is okay. Bilge hat. Okay, bilge hat will look like so. This is just a sample photograph of the bilge hat. Uh, okay, this is just a sample photograph of the bilge hat. Basically, what do you mean by bilge hat is uh, in the bilges, forward or aft bilges, we have got covers like this. You must have seen gratings or covers like this. These are the hats. These are the hats, bilge hats. These are the bilge hats. These gratings or the covers, so that they can be lifted and the bilges can be seen. Okay, these are covering the bilges so that anything does not fall into the bilges, and they are covered up. Okay, then is the sight glass. This one you can see, this is the sight glass, where you can find the sight glass in most of the locations. In the boiler you will find the sight glass, in the overflow line you will have the sight glass, and very important in the overflow line, because from the sight glass you will come to know whether the tank is overflowing. uh, you will have side glasses in freshwater generator, you will have a side glass. So many numerous number of locations you have side glass. Okay. uh, and it is very important. I remember one incident from one of my vessels. One new fourth engineer had joined, and we had recently opened the freshwater generator for cleaning. At that time we had also removed the sight glass, and while tightening he tightened the bolts in a wrong manner, and the sight glass cracked, and we did not have a spare. So for few days the freshwater generator was not running. We tried to manage with some other glass, and then we got one new glass, and then we could use it. So it is very important to carry out the maintenance in a correct process. For juniors who are listening, please be careful while you are tightening the glass. Okay, the glass cracks very easily. Okay, now the fusible plug. Okay, fusible plug side glass, you can understand, it looks like this, double circled. Okay, fusible plug. Fusible plug purpose is to melt down when the temperature reduces. Sorry, when the temperature increases, melting of the fusible material inside the fusible plug melts down and causes the perforation in the line. Basically, where you will find this fusible plug, you will find this in the air compressor, compressed air outlet line. Say you have compressed air outlet is at very high temperature, so to avoid any um, explosion etc in the air bottle, uh, before the air bottle itself we will have a fusible plug which will fuse the line, and the air will, which is at a very high temperature, will be released out, because at that high temperature the fusible material melts. You can see this is the fusible plug, and it has got a material inside, this one, which is the fusible material at meant to melt at very low temperatures. Okay, so this is how this fusible plug will operate. As the temperature will increase, it will melt down and fuse. Okay, fuse basically means open the pipeline to air to discharge. Okay, the last one is the boss. Boss means, uh, why do you use a boss? So basically, you can see the photo and you can make out when you are using some tapping or something like that in a, say, pipeline. You are installing a pressure gauge or something like that. So what the manufacturer is doing here, they are installing some boss like this, so the area becomes thick in this section, and a strong, because of the strongness of the area, there is a tapping can be made on that. And on this, there either it is a plug installed, you can see boss and the plug. There are two boxes, so one is a plug, one is a boss. So the plug can be installed on that top of it, so that um, any further requirement, you can open that plug and check the line or install any other device. You must have seen it on all the lines. There is this boss and plug arrangement given. Basically, boss is the section where it is welded to increase the thickness, and then tapping is done on that to keep it closed with the plug, and when required, it is opened up to inspect or carry out any maintenance. Okay, that is all about this pipe fitting section. We'll meet in the next section for further details. Okay, thank you guys.